multi-stakeholder body will be more or less effective depending on whether they collectively, in their enlightened self-interest, come up with a policy solution that is agreed to promote the public interest.
Thanks, John. So Kyle, from your high-level government experience and now private sector, does this ring true, or do you go a different path?
I actually share a lot of what's been said, but first I want to thank Phil and Silicon Flatirons for the opportunity to speak with you today. It's a great opportunity for to step back and sort of put our advocacy hats aside and talk about what some complex issues with some nuance. So in thinking about how to tie the different presentations together and comment on them, I found myself thinking about three interrelated questions: comparative institutional analysis and multi-stakeholders. And a lot of these questions have already been teed up and I think answered pretty well by some of the presenters. First, what other institutions are we comparing multi-stakeholder processes to, including those that are already operator? I think Danny's presentation is especially helpful on this point with respect to the context of internet governance. That is, the internet is strongly influenced by a number of organizations beyond ICANN: technical design distinctions or decisions, corporate policies, private commercial negotiations, et cetera. So I'm very much in agreement there. Second, I think we need to think about what functions we're asking multi-stakeholder processes to perform. Laura DeNardis at American University has laid out what she calls a disaggregated taxonomy of these different functions in the context of internet governance, which I thought was very instructive in my research. She talks about functions ranging from control of critical internet resources to coordination of access and interconnection, like peering or CDN arrangements, privacy and cybersecurity regulation. So I agree that sort of relying on multi-stakeholder processes as a sort of panacea is probably not the right idea, and we should all be thinking about sort of specific functions and whether multi-stakeholder processes are well suited to perform those functions. I also think we should do what I think the presenters did pretty well, which is to go beyond the sort of familiar stated dichotomy between technical issues on the one hand and policy issues on the other, which I think at best denotes a sort of increasingly blurry distinction. Olivier's presentation, I think, helpfully touches on this, where he argues, at least in the paper that we saw ahead of time, that we can no longer rely on technologists alone to govern the internet. I think that's true in part because the internet has grown in both societal and economic importance, and it's hard to manage this